Jane Fonda is 88 years old now. She has decided to talk about John Wayne. Jane Fonda was born on December 21, 1937 in New York City. Her name at birth was Jane Seymour Fonda. She was already famous because her father was the actor Henry Fonda. She did not just follow in her father's footsteps. She made her way in life. She had a lot of success in her career. She was also very involved in politics. She was not afraid to speak her mind. She always tried to learn and question the things that were happening around her and what she believed in. Jane Fonda had a tough time growing up. She was born into a family, but her life was not easy. Her parents were very strict. They did not show her much love. Jane Fonda felt alone, and she thought she was not good enough. Things got even worse for Jane Fonda when her mother, Frances Ford Seymour, killed herself. Jane Fonda was 12 years old at that time. This was a sad event for Jane Fonda, and it affected her for the rest of her life. Jane Fonda always wanted to know why she was alive and what she was supposed to do with her life. Jane Fonda wanted to feel good about herself and find a reason to keep going. Jane Fonda went to good schools like Vassar College. At first, Jane Fonda did not think she would be an actress. She started out playing roles that made her look like a beautiful young woman. She did not want to be seen as just that. She wanted to do serious and interesting work. Her big chance came when she was in the movie Barbarella in 1968. This science fiction movie made her famous around the world, and people thought of her as a sexy woman. She said that being in this movie was good for her because it gave her freedom, but it also had some effects. She did not want the movie people in Hollywood to decide what she could do, so she used her fame to find work. She wanted to do things that meant something and were important. Barbarella was a deal for her, but she did not want to be known just for that movie. The 1970s was a great time for Jane Fonda as an actress. She did a lot of work back then. Jane Fonda gave some performances that showed everyone how talented she was. People think she is one of the actresses of her time. Jane Fonda played a prostitute in the movie Clute in 1971. It was a very tough role. She was great in it. Won an Academy Award for it. This role showed that Jane Fonda could play characters that were very sad and struggling. It made people see her in a way, and they realized she was a really good actress. She did well in Coming Home in 1978. This is where she played a wife who starts to see things differently. Then she was in The China Syndrome in 1979. This movie was about issues, and it showed that she was getting more into social things. These movies showed that she can play different roles. They also showed that she was becoming more aware of what was going on in the world, and that she cared about these issues like the ones in The China Syndrome and Coming Home. Jane Fonda did a lot of things as an actress. She also became very well known for speaking her mind about things that mattered to her. Jane Fonda was really against the Vietnam War. She became a part of the movement to stop the war. Jane Fonda used her fame to help people see that not everyone agreed with the war. When Jane Fonda went to North Vietnam in 1972, a lot of people did not like it. Some people did not understand why Jane Fonda did this. This trip gave her a nickname that people would call her for a long time, Hanoi Jane. The name Hanoi Jane stuck with Jane Fonda for decades. She said she was sorry about some things that happened when she visited that place. She still thought she had the right to say she did not like the wars she believed were not fair. Her activism was something that people did not always agree with. It showed that she was willing to deal with the bad things that could happen to her because of what she believed in. She was willing to accept the professional consequences for her activism. In the 1980s, Jane Fonda did something again. She changed the way people thought about fitness. That had a big impact on popular culture. Jane Fonda's workout came out in 1982. It became the best-selling video of its time. This video started a fitness movement all around the world. Some people might have thought Jane Fonda's workout was a celebrity thing that would not be taken seriously. It actually became a big deal that helped millions of people, especially women, to take care of their bodies. Jane Fonda made a lot of money from this. that allowed her to support the things she cared about like political causes and helping people in need. Jane Fonda was able to fund movie projects and philanthropic work because of the money she made from Jane Fonda's workout. She stopped acting in the 1990s, but then she came back to acting in the 2000s. She seemed clear and confident when she came back. Her acting jobs after that were really good. She did comedy and drama. She was not afraid to get older or change how she looked. She was in things like Grace and Frankie, which help people who are younger know who she is. This showed that just because you get older it does not mean you are not relevant anymore. The actress, she is still relevant. She is still doing a great job and people still like her. That is what matters. That is what she got from acting in things like Grace and Frankie and other jobs. And that is what people see when they watch her, the actress. She is still very active when it comes to things she cares about, climate action. The climate action is something she feels strongly about. She has even been to protests in Washington, D.C., was willing to get arrested for the climate action she believes in. She was away from the spotlight for a time more than 10 years. Then she made a comeback to acting in 2005. People were really looking forward to seeing her act, and she did a great job. She was in a movie called Monster-in-Law. This movie made people happy. It meant she was not retired anymore. The movie showed people who she was, and it showed that she was still very funny and charming and good at acting. Her performance in Monster-in-Law was really good. It showed that Monster-in-Law was a great choice for her comeback. The woman was really good at what she did for a time, like from the 2000s and into the next decade. Music performances by the woman were always great. People remembered them. The woman kept changing. The music performances by the woman were always good. Jane Fonda did not slow down all. She took on lots of roles that showed how deep and mature she is. Jane Fonda is still an actress. In the movie Georgia Rule, which came out in 2007, Jane Fonda gave a strong performance. This reminded people how good she is at showing her emotions and being honest. She did a lot of types of movies. In The Butler, which came out in 2013, she was in a movie that showed many years of big changes in America. This movie was based on things that really happened. The year in 2014, she was in This Is Where I Leave You. This movie was funny. It also made people feel sad and think about their feelings. She played a character who was funny, also very sensitive, in a story about family losing people and making things right again. The Butler and This Is Where I Leave You were different movies, but she did a great job in both of them. She went back to television at the time. From 2012 to 2014, she was on The Newsroom, a show on HBO. The Newsroom is a show that people really like. She was really good on The Newsroom. The Newsroom is about the news and politics and things like that. She was good at playing her part on The Newsroom. This showed that she can do a job on television and in movies. The Newsroom and her movies are different. She is good at both. She is good at playing parts in The Newsroom and in her movies. The Newsroom and her movies are good because she is in them. In 2017, she did something special. She made a movie with Robert Redford for Netflix called Our Souls at Night. This movie was a love story that people really liked because it felt real. It showed what love is like when you are older. She and Robert Redford were great on screen, even though they had not made a movie together in a long time. People over the world loved watching them. The year she was in another movie that a lot of people saw. It was a love story called Book Club that came out in 2018. The movie did well, and it was a nice surprise. It was about the friendship and self-discovery of women, and it also had romance in it. The film showed that older women can still have these things in their life. This movie helped her become a bigger icon in our culture. She is a woman who does not let her age define what she can do. The film is about women, and it celebrates their friendship, self-discovery, and romance. She is an icon, and the movie helped her become even more famous for being a woman who does not care about her age. Jane Fonda's life is really interesting. It has had a lot of drama and big changes like the character she plays. Jane Fonda got married for the time in 1965 to Roger Vadim, a famous French movie maker. This marriage helped people see Jane Fonda as a modern woman who who was not afraid to talk about sex. At the age of 88, Jane Fonda does not feel like she has to be nice about what she thinks. She has lived a life and learned a lot from it. This has made her very clear about what she believes in. When Jane Fonda talks about John Wayne, now she is not angry, she is just honest. Jane Fonda says that the big argument she had with John Wayne was not because she did not like him, it was because they did not agree on what's important, who should be in charge, and the stories that America tells about itself. Jane Fonda is very clear about her thoughts on John Wayne and the things they disagreed on. Fonda has said times that she did not hate John Wayne as a person. What she did not like was what John Wayne stood for and how a lot of people thought that was the truth. To Fonda, John Wayne represented a strict kind of masculine nationalism. This kind of nationalism did not allow for feelings or different opinions or complicated ideas. The characters John Wayne played in his war movies always seemed so sure of things. Fonda believed that the world needed to ask questions and not be so sure of things. The Vietnam War was a tough time for Jane Fonda and John Wayne. They had a disagreement when John Wayne spoke out against Jane Fonda for not supporting the war. Jane Fonda still recalls what John Wayne said about her. He called her unpatriotic and a traitor. But what really stuck with Jane Fonda was not what John Wayne said, it was the fear she felt when he said it. Jane Fonda thinks John Wayne was actually scared that people who spoke out against the war would change the America he knew, an America where things were simple. You knew who was good and who was bad. John Wayne believed in this America with heroes and villains, and no in between. Wayne's views were shaped by the time he lived in and how he was raised. That does not make them okay. The woman thinks that just because we can understand why someone acted a way, it does not mean they are not responsible for what they did. Lots of artists from Wayne's time changed their minds. Listen to others. Wayne did the opposite. He used his fame to attack people who disagreed with what most people thought. The woman thinks Wayne should have been more open to ideas, but instead he used his fame to shame people who challenged him. Wayne's actions were not acceptable. The woman will not excuse them. Time has made Jane Fonda less angry. She still has strong opinions. She does not feel angry anymore. She thinks telling the truth is easier now. Jane Fonda wants the people who come after her to know that her problems with John Wayne were not about her being proud, about what she thought was right. Jane Fonda does not want people to say she was right, she just wants people to understand her. Jane Fonda says John Wayne thought he had all the answers. Jane Fonda thought people should ask questions, and time will tell which way of thinking was more important. At 88, her voice may be quieter, but its resolve remains firm, proving that truth, even when unpopular, can outlast even the most towering legends.